Your E30 overheating. Today, I'm going to show you how to fix that problem by replacing the thermostat. The thermostat is located right here inside this housing. Super simple to remove. You have a hose here, and you have three 10mm bolts. Pop those off, and the thermostat's going to be right inside. I'm going to show you how to do it. Alright, so to begin, you first want to make sure your engine is cold. You don't want to do this with a hot engine, because you're probably going to burn yourself. So the first thing you have to do is remove this hose. This is held on with a little nut, or you can use a Phillips screwdriver. What I'm going to use is a ratchet with a Phillips bit at the end. So to remove this, stick that on, and you get to cranking. Alright, you loosen the clamp. Make sure my camera focuses here. And when the clamp is loose, what you're going to do is you're going to pull the hose off. But before you do that, you're going to make a mess. So what I have underneath the car, I don't know if you can see it, I have a little bucket there. So when I pull this hose off and start spilling coolant everywhere, it doesn't get all over my driveway. So now that that's loose, pull this off. Alright, now comes the coolant. So I'm going to let that drain for a little bit, and when it's done draining, I'm going to get to work on these bolts. You have 1, 2, and a third one right on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you when I get the housing off. Okay, now that the coolant is done draining, you can get to work on these 10mm. So you have my ratchet, my 3/8 ratchet, and 10mm. As you can see, put on the bolt, and it shouldn't be too tight. Give a little crank, and that's one. Alright, then you have one right here, and one on the bottom right here. Shouldn't be too hard to reach. One here, and one here. So I'm going to loosen these up, because I could use two hands when I do that, and I'll show you guys when I take them off and remove the housing. I got the bolts loosened up. As I said, you have one right here. Don't lose the washer like I just did. You have one right here, number 2. And on the bottom, underneath, you have number 3. Right there. Okay, so you can put the bolts on the side somewhere so you don't lose them. And now this whole housing should come right off, just like that. So here you go. You have the housing, and in there you have the thermostat with this little gasket around it. Really simple. So now what you're going to do, you put the housing to the side, out of your way, and you have to pull on the thermostat. Sometimes it takes a little persuasion. You got to twist it, you got to use a screwdriver, pry in it. The gasket you're replacing anyways, so it doesn't really matter. So let me try and get this loosened up, and I'll get back to you guys, and I'll tell you how I did it. After a little persuasion from a screwdriver, what I did was I took the screwdriver, I stuck it in here, and I just pried on it. The thermostat comes out, and in there you have your housing. So what I recommend doing before we're putting the new thermostat in is, see all this? This I recommend taking a razor blade and just cleaning up the surface on this and the other piece of the housing so it's clean. That way you don't have any leaks. And right here is where the gasket goes, in between this. So let me get a razor blade. I'm going to clean this up, get all the goo off, and then I will show you how I put the new thermostat in and reassemble this whole thing. Now that the surface is all cleaned up, you're ready to put the thermostat in. So you have your thermostat, as you can see here. Now make sure it has the gasket on it, and all you do is you put it in the hole, just like so. And now the thermostat is in. Alright, and you have the gasket, like so, on the outside. Now with that there, you have your housing, which I also cleaned up the surface with a razor blade. Line it back up, like so, over the thermostat. And then well, this requires 2 hands, but you put a couple screws in. Here on the bottom, you thread them in lightly while you hold it in, and then you tighten it. So let me go grab those screws. You put the camera down, grab those screws. I'll start threading them in, and I'll show you how it should look. As you can see, the housing is on. The bleed screw right here is on the top, how it should be. So now I'm just going to finish tightening up these screws. Right now I'm doing it just by hand, just having the socket. Just gently tighten them, snug them up. Try and do it as evenly as possible. So when this one's snug, like so, you move on to the next one, and you repeat the process. If you got this far, you're almost done. So now I have the three bolts tightened up. Don't make them too tight, make them snug. I believe the torque spec's somewhere around 7 foot-pounds, so definitely do not over tighten them because you will break them. Now, final step, take your hose, slide it back on. Might take a little persuasion. There you go. Hose is on. You grab either your screwdriver or your socket, tighten up this hose clamp, and that's it. You have successfully replaced a thermostat on an E30 325i or 325e. Okay, naturally, after you successfully replace your thermostat, the next step is to fill and bleed your coolant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have that part in a separate video after this one. So, thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I was able to help you replace your thermostat. If you found it interesting, please stay tuned for the next video where I will show you how to properly fill and bleed your coolant. Thank you guys for watching.